Hi, Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I wanted to demonstrate a neat project that I put together using some of the products out of the new Creativity Delivered Stampin' Up! Holiday Catalog. I'm using the stamp set from the Painted Harvest bundle that comes with this stamp set and this punch if you buy it as a bundle and saved 10%. I'm also using the mini pizza boxes and the 3x3 envelopes that are also featured in the catalog to make some neat little note cards. And what's nice about this is that these note cards fit inside this little pizza box very, very nicely and make a wonderful gift. Here I have 4 note cards with the envelopes stamped, and I'm going to put in this and give it as a gift. There you go. It's really easy. So let's get started. What you're going to need is you're going to need some Whisper White cardstock that you're going to cut 3x3 pieces, and you're going to need 8 of these because we're going to stamp on the outside, and then you're going to need another 4 to put on the inside of your note card. You're also going to need 3x3 pumpkin pie card bases. I'm using 4 of them. And I wanted to show you that if you use a 12x12 piece of pumpkin pie cardstock, you're able to get 8 cards out of that piece. So your 12x12 you cut by 3, and then this is 12, so you're going to cut 3x6, and then you're going to score at the 3-inch side, and then use your bone folder to go ahead and increase those. So those are your cardstock. So here you can see this is the other half of my 12x12. So I have 4 more cards that I can make out of this piece of product. So it really works out well. And if you think about it, these 3x3 cards, using these pizza boxes would also be a nice Christmas gift to give tags. So that's another idea that I want you to consider when you're thinking about this set. Here are the pizza boxes. I believe you get how many? You get 8 of them in one package. They're very easy to put together, and I'll demonstrate that for you as well this afternoon. Okay, so the other thing that you'll need is I'm using the colors Crushed Curry, Pumpkin Pie, Old Olive, and Garden Green to stamp my my cards. So you'll need those colors, and you'll need your a piercing mat because we will be using the photopolymer inks, and you'll need the Painted Harvest stamp set. So let me show you these stamps. These are a 2-step stamp. So I'm using the D block, and I'm just going to go ahead and put my stamp on the block. And if you'll notice, I have right here at the very long edge of the block, I've made a little mark. And why I did that is to show you kind of a little trick for stamping these sunflowers. I'm going to ink up my sunflower, and it's got kind of a variegated look to it. Here's my mark, so I'm going to put that on the bottom, and that's what my sunflower is going to look like. So it's not going to be a solid all the way around. It's got it's kind of a watercolor effect on your stamps. Then I'm going to take my next piece, which is the inside, and again I'm going to show you that I'm going to lay this down right here, and I have that marked on the bottom. You can see that this stamp is marked here on the bottom. So I am going to stamp this one, and I'm going to use my pumpkin pie, and I'm going to line up, and you can see I have the way this kind of comes out like that. I'm going to line that up with the bottom right here, and it fits perfectly over that. And this is what gives you your really nice effect with your sunflower. Is simply lining up those two pieces. Okay, so having showed you that, let's go ahead and take our piece of cardstock now and do the same thing. Take our Whisper White. I'm going to have my my crushed curry, which is my first step, and that is the larger one. I have my my mark right there. I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to turn this around because I got some ink, and I'm pointing that straight down, and there's my crushed curry. Okay. And I'm just going to go across and stamp all these again straight down. There we go. Okay, we got that piece done. So I'm going to put my crushed curry away, and now I'm going to take the next step, which is this piece here, and you can see where that kind of comes out. I have a little mark there, and I'm going to stamp it with my pumpkin pie. Again, I'm going to just line that up right there, looking straight down. Straight down. And what's neat about Stampin' Up inks is that you just give it a few minutes and that ink absorbs really nicely in the paper. Okay, so there we are. And I made a little bit of a boo-boo right there, but we're going to fix that. Okay, so that is my sunflowers. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our middle, and I failed to mention that I'm using early espresso, as the ink for the middle of my of the stamp. Early Espresso. I've simply put the middle on my stamp, and again I have I'm just going to look down and cover it up. There we go. Okay, so now I've gotten my cards stamped, and now I want to stamp my around the edges. What I'm going to use is, so here's the first one, which is kind of it has the entire shape of the leaf, and then you have the second step, which is kind of the shading. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to put these aside, and I'm just going to work with one at a time. And I'm going to take, and here this is the C block. Put my stamps on. And the first one I want to use is Old Olive. So I'm going to take Old Olive with my stamp that has the entire shape of the leaf as opposed to this kind of shaded one. And I'm also going to use a stamp off technique. So I'm going to stamp, stamp off, stamp, stamp off, stamp, stamp off, stamp, stamp off. So for our next step, we're going to take our garden green with our next the other stamp, and I am going to just very, very lightly kind of come in with the garden green. I'm only going to stamp the full stamped. I'm not going to stamp the stamped off ones. I'm just going to stamp the full stamped. Because the next thing we want to do is we're going to take our envelopes. I'm going to get another sheet here, and I'm going to take 4 envelopes and two, 3, 4. And we're going to stamp the envelopes. So I'm going to just put these aside to make sure that they dry nicely. And we're going to take our card bases here. I'm going to move my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'm going to go ahead and just put my card bases directly onto put my stamps images directly on my card bases. And I'm going to use my Tombow glue because I just think it's going to be a lot quicker. Okay, so there are our cards, here are our envelopes. And there's no rhyme or reason on how we stamp those. So we have those put together. I do need to stamp, or I'm going to cut the insides of that. Now we are done with our cards, with our matching envelopes, and you can package it where you have an envelope with a card, or you can have all your envelopes in the back and all your cards in the front. Okay, so now let's get to our pizza box. So our pizza box comes in this container, and we are going to stamp. This is the top of the pizza box, and this is the bottom. So you can kind of see here the way this is designed, where you have everything is on the inside of your box. Here's your tab for the top, and then this little cutout here is what goes on the bottom. Okay, so that's what this is right here. So to stamp this, what I did is I'm going to take some Post-it notes, and I want to mask my box, because all I want to do is I want to stamp just the top of my box. So I'm going to get my colors again. I'm starting with crushed curry, and I think what I'm going to do, here are my two pieces. I'm going to get my larger one for my crushed curry, which is the yellow color. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp here, stamp here. I'm going to stamp off here. So this is kind of a different look. And I'm going to stamp off here. Okay, so that's my crushed curry. Next is my, and you know, it probably wouldn't hurt to use my stamping piercing mat, simply because we are using photopolymer. So I'm going to use it for my next step, so that I do have that foundation there. So when I stamp this, here's where all my bottoms are, because I stamped it this way. Okay, so you can see where my little my dot's right there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to match up my dot here with there. Match up my dot there. Match up my dot there. Okay. So that is my flower. So now let me get my early espresso and let's do our center. Seems like when you do the center is when the flower just really seems to pop for me. And then I'm going to take one of my leaves and I am going to use my old olive and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of turn it this way so I can get it right in there. Then I might do it stamp off. Okay, I might put it in here. Stamp off. Here. Here. Just filling in the space and stamp off. Okay, so there's my space is filled in. Now, the other thing I did, and it's totally up to you, but in this stamp set there are these little dots, and I've seen the dots used on the face of the sunflower, right in the middle of the sunflower, like those are the little sunflower seeds. But in this case, I'm just going to take my crushed curry and I'm just going to, where there's a little bit of space, I'm just going to add my dots just to kind of just give it a little bit more visual interest, because this is the top of our box. Okay, so that's done. And now what we can do is let's remove our masking to reveal the top of our pizza box. Isn't that beautiful? So there's the top of our pizza box. So we can just go ahead and put this together. And the way we want to put it together is you just want to fold in your pieces like that, and these pieces go folded in this way, and you can see it's got a nice I guess it's kind of like a plastic coating on the inside, so it is food safe. Okay, and what the trick is to take this piece here and fold it down, because these little pieces here, and see I forgot to pull these out, see these little tabs? You want to make sure these little tabs are pulled out of there, okay? Because they go in here and this one goes in here, and they kind of fit right there in that slot, because when I pull this in, I'm going to pull this in, and then these are going to go, and you can hear them pop. They popped right into that little slot right there, and that's what holds your whole pizza box together. So then you just basically fold in the rest of your pieces, and there's your box. And if you want to, use your, you can pretty much use your fingers. You don't need to use your bone folder. But there's your box. So now I can put my cards inside my box. I could put my own little note in there as a gift note, and I can fold up my box. And I can add some add some twine. This is the twine that I used for this one here, that I kind of just wrapped it around just very easily. Very simple. And there you go. Got some twine on here, and it just looks really kind of neat and rustic. So there's our project. Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration and some of the neat things you can do with the new Stampin' Up! Products, the Painted Harvest set, the pizza boxes, and the 3x3 note cards, and how you can put that together for a really neat gift. Hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please like it, and if you're looking for a demonstrator, please visit me on Stamp Art Connection. Happy stamping.